Good morning, YouTube.
All right. Good morning, YouTube. How are you guys doing?
The bigger picture. Business Express on Smooth 98.1. Business Express. Brought to you by EnterSwitch. Transaction solutions you can depend on.
Good morning and welcome. This is Smooth 98.1. My name is Olakunmi and it is time for Business Express. This is the segment of the breakfast show where we go in depth into news stories, and we have joining us this morning Rotus, who is going to be breaking down the stories. Rotus, good morning.
Good morning, Olakunmi. Good morning to all our listeners and viewers out there. Good to be with you guys. Good to be with you guys on a Wednesday.
All right, we're streaming live on YouTube. You should remember that you can join the conversation via YouTube. It is youtube.com/smooth981. That's how to find us on YouTube. Rotus, you can see Rotus's beautiful face right there. We're moving on to the stories. You can send your messages to 0809 444 0981. 0809 444 0981. Please send your messages in. Rotus, what's good? The governor says that we should pay attention to our environment. So
Yes.
we're discussing this morning. The
environment has been a big topic this year. We had Africa Energy Week in, I believe it was Cape Town, South Africa, where there was a whole lot of talk about fossil fuels, climate change, and environmental protection, and how businesses have to step up on the African continent when it comes to preserving the environment. There was also a lot of talk about Africa making the transition from fossil fuels to cleaner energy. PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, had a report where they say it would cost about $2.8 trillion for Africa to make a proper transition from fossil fuels to clean energy, wind, solar, and so on and so forth.
How much?
They also said that, look, that is a lot of money, and the West is going to have to step up and assist Africa in making that transition. Fossil fuels, we are an oil-dependent nation. South Africa is a coal-dependent nation. Even here within Nigeria, Enugu is called Coal City. So we very much depend on fossil fuels with regards to jobs and with regards to powering this country. However, using those fossil fuels, it comes at a cost when it comes to the carbon footprint. Now, I should state that compared to the United States, the UK, China, Australia, all these other countries, Africa, or rather the countries on Africa, the Nigerians and South Africans of this world, they don't contribute as much to the carbon footprint as much as those other countries. So oil and gas companies, energy companies here have said, look, you can't bully us or push us into transitioning to cleaner energy because we still depend on carbon, we still depend on fossil fuels. And you guys that are preaching all this climate energy talk, you contribute more to damaging the environment than Africa does. So leave Africa alone. So that's been the debate. There was COP26, which was held in Glasgow, Scotland earlier this year, where there were a lot of pledges were made about trying to reduce carbon footprint. So when you put all that together, one of the biggest topics of the year in 2021 has been cleaner energy. And Nigeria has made, I think it's the government's rural electrification projects. They are depending a lot on solar energy and cleaner energy in order to electrify a lot of rural communities. And so private sector has taken advantage where there have been companies that have been investing money in cleaner energy. So for example, there's a company I believe called All On. All On is an impact investment company that used seed money from Shell, oil and gas company Shell, in order to invest in solar projects around the country to improve, electrification via off-grid options. So when you think about all these efforts, Governor Sanwo-Olu was involved in a tree planting exercise. I believe since 2008, Lagos State government claims to have planted, I believe it's about 8 million trees across the states. 8 million trees since 2008. And he says his administration, since he came into office, has planted about 60,000 trees. And trees act as a sponge for absorbing the carbon that's put out by machines. The air conditioner you are using right now is emitting carbon into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
The vehicles that we drive, when we use our air conditioners in our cars, the carbon monoxide that they put out, all of this contributes towards our carbon footprints. When you are flying aircraft, anything that consumes energy using fuel, diesel, petrol, and so on, that contributes towards the carbon footprint. So it is a matter of reducing that carbon footprint. And there's money to be made here for businesses that want to transition to cleaner energy. The issue, though, is that is there enough of a collective effort to do so? So Sanwo-Olu was saying that Lagosians need to collectively think about the environment and plant more trees. It doesn't take much to plant a tree. The issue, though, is beyond planting trees, for CSR, corporate social responsibility, when we think about businesses and their CSR, building a school, painting a school, sending books to schools, or helping communities up and now, how many corporate social responsibility projects by businesses are focused on the environment? So in this case, what Sanwo-Olu was taking part in something called the Evergreen Project Lagos, which is a brainchild of a Miss Naita Gupta of the African Steel Evergreen Project. So they're a business that is focused on trying to improve the environment. Well, look, as much as we don't contribute to carbon footprint as much as China and other nations, we're still the most commercial states in Nigeria, one of the top 5 most commercial states in Africa. So when you think about diesel generators, we emit so much into the atmosphere. So, it's not just about planting trees. Someone needs to look at what's going on with the diesel generators, old downfall buses, the fact that a lot of road transportation is 90% of transportation in this state, in fact, in the country itself. Not enough is done for rail and other methods of transportation.
Recently we had a conversation on Lagos Talks where we had Dr. Dolakbo Fashewe. She's managing LASEPA, that's the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency. And I remember that one of the things that she mentioned that Lagos State has done in recent times is to ensure that at the ports, they're not bringing in used devices, targets, gadgets, to reduce the amount of all of these used products that actually come here and they just dump them in Nigeria. Because a lot of us don't even talk about that aspect of how we dispose of our devices and what it does to the environment.
Good point on her part, but the thing is, we import a lot of used cars, right? We don't import brand new cars. You can import duties on vehicles, they're very expensive. So it's more cost efficient to bring in used cars. As a result of bringing in more used cars, you're bringing in older cars. Older cars emit more carbon into the environment than newer cars. So, and that's just vehicles. There's the generator issue, there's other machinery and so on and so forth. Anytime you see a helicopter flying or a plane, you have to think of what it is emitting. So, I'm using energy, the energy you and I are using now are either from A, generators, or B, from the grid. If solar energy or solar lamps is what was powering our energy right now, then we'll say that we're contributing towards a cleaner environment. So the question is, what can businesses do? Can they be more conscious of this? And if I'll never forget, I keep saying this story over and over again, a Warner Brothers cartoon that I watched years ago. It featured Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and Yosemite Sam. But Yosemite Sam got off the grid. He was bragging to Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny that he had got solar panels and he was no longer using the grid. And then a thunderstorm came and then he blocked the solar panels. He didn't have light to not go to their house and be using their stuff every day. But that was a children's cartoon, a Warner Brothers cartoon that was raising awareness on solar energy. This was about 8-10 years ago. So to be a proper awareness campaign here targeted at making people more conscious of the environment. And what can they do? If every business in Nigeria decided to stop using generators and go to solar energy, that would be an effort. But then how much would it cost, right?
Yeah, the cost is a thing.
Of solar panels. Our head of IT at Smooth FM, Mr. Sam, he's involved in renewable energy. He installs solar panels and he's involved in that. So he knows what the costs are. Anyone can ask him how much it costs. It's not cheap. So there has to be more to be done to subsidize the cost of switching if we're serious about the environment and what it.
Do you think that Nigeria can actually make the president's pledge? You remember the president pledged that Nigeria would reach net zero emissions by 2060. Do you think that is something that's achievable, looking at how the stage we are in now in terms of the environment?
Yeah. President Buhari hasn't met a single pledge that he made since he came into office. So he's not going to be here in 2060.
Did you say
so, yeah, I mean, that's going to be a tough thing it's tough. We'll have to make significant strides to get there. Until we solve this power issue and you reduce the amount of generators being used in this country, you're not going to get far in terms of getting to net zero. Until you reduce the amount of cars and lorries and trucks on the road, you won't. Just look at burning of refuse. Look at how many Nigerians burn refuse, not just in the cities though, also in rural areas. Look at gas flaring by oil and gas communities. Look at what happened in Bayelsa, in the Nembe Creek, the ITO oil company, the oil well that oil head that blew up. There's so much environmental damage in the country. So many generators, so many cars. There has to be a collective effort from businesses and individuals. It's the industrial sector that's so busy. Until you see a collective effort, Olakunmi, we're not going to be making any stride. If only you and I and Kayode, if three of us decide that we'll stop polluting and throwing refuse on the floor, are three of us enough to impact the rest of Lagos? Everybody has to commit to stop throwing refuse on the floor. So
more awareness, more push on awareness.
So
there's a message.
I commend the governor, but it's a lot of work.
There's a message here from Joel. Hi, Rotus. I just installed solar and it cost me 200K for 2K VA. That's what he says.
So I mean, how much? Yeah, go ahead.
Benga says solar costs more than an arm and a leg in Nigeria, and many times doesn't deliver much power. There's an exploitative strike to it, Shah. We're talking of more investment in oil and gas, and you're talking reducing emissions. How would that be possible? He says.
Exactly.
Orisa says, truth be told, aside the little contributions by Africa in the carbon footprint, the West has used fossil fuel, which is cheaper to develop their economies. So it ain't fair to put Africa on the same timeline. And secondly, fossil fuel would forever be crucial in energy provision because the sun and wind are seasonal. And presently, we would need about 2.5 billion Tesla batteries to power Germany alone. And then disposal of batteries would be an issue for the environment. For me, more research and development should be done in carbon and energy efficient devices because renewables are not sustainable, he says. Do you agree?
Strong points.
Not sustainable?
Strong point. Well,
maybe for now.
For now, but there's the issue of costs, as mentioned by our other listeners that sent them. Thank you to everybody that sent those messages.
Gilbert says, we have to go actually. But let me take Gilbert's message. What are the other state governors doing to open up their various states to reduce pressure of immigration to Lagos? It's equally an environment challenge.
Good point.
All right. Well, there are lots of challenges, but we hope that things get better. We hope that, and Rotus was saying earlier that the president hasn't met any of this, but he has. The administration have certain things that they have met in terms of their promises. However, it's all I think you were just exaggerating, but it's okay. Let's just get out here. Thank you so much for joining the conversation.
Thank you.
For many of you that sent in messages, thank you for sending your messages in. Rotus, thank you for joining the show.
Thank you so much.
All right, it was good to have you. Remember that we get into smooth music now, and right after that, 7:30, we come back for Freshly Pressed Intelligent Conversation. We have our analysts who are going to be, breaking down some of the top stories from this morning. We look forward to having your comments in then. So stick around. This is Smooth 98.1. My name is Lakumi.
Business Express, brought to you by InterSwitch. Transaction solutions you can depend on. With critical focus on the Nigerian
There are only
economy,
three stories here.
we see
So
the
the third
bigger
one
Yeah, so just do those three first.
Business
Let me.
You
Express
said
on
to just
Smooth
specific stories.
98.1.
The story